right, Tom, thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Business Hammer. I appreciate you taking the time to join me today.
You're welcome. Happy to join you.
So why don't you start off, just tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I'm Tom. I'm the owner of Miche Pest Control. We're a pest control company in DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia. We cover Baltimore as well.
Okay. And so how did you get into pest control? Did you just wake up one day and say, hey, this is what I want to do? Or how did that happen?
I don't know that anyone ever just says, I want to be in pest control.
Right?
Shoot, the way I got into pest control was I needed a job and someone said, hey, you should try selling pest control door to door.
Okay. So you started off in sales.
I started off
door to door sales. Wow. Okay. So yeah, tell me about that a little bit. That's interesting.
I was okay. I didn't do great. I was very mediocre.
Okay.
I figured out that I would much rather be a technician.
Okay.
At that point in my life, this was 10 years ago. I'd much rather be a technician, do the work, feel fulfilled every day, knowing that I'd done something productive.
Sure.
It was very different.
Oh yeah. So how'd you make that transition from door-to-door sales guy to the actual technician?
I rode with the technician for a while, learned a little bit. Training, depending on the company, was okay or really bad.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So how long were you actual salesperson? Was that a short period?
A salesperson, I did one summer and then I tried to sell again. It didn't work. So I stuck with being a technician.
It didn't work. So I made the move. So how long were you a tech before you decided, hey, I just want to do this for myself?
So all of like a month before I decided I wanted to do it for myself.
Okay.
But I knew that there was a ton that I didn't know.
Sure.
So I decided I was going to try and learn as much as I could and grow with the companies I was at as much as I could.
Sure.
I became a service manager. I was actually a regional manager for another company for a few years before I made the plunge.
So how many years total before you made that jump?
It was like 10 years.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, you
not 10, it was more like 8, I suppose.
But you stuck it out for quite a while to try to learn the craft before you just, pulled the trigger.
The experience I was getting, super valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super valuable.
So, okay. So what year did you make the jump and decide, hey, I'm doing this for myself now?
2019.
2019. Okay. So it's relatively new.
Yeah.
So
we've only been in business 2.5 years.
Okay. So what was that like? How was that fear of taking that leap?
I knew I was going to do it. So I told the owner of the company and my bosses that I was going to eventually need to no longer work for that company, but I wasn't going to leave them hanging. I was traveling a lot, doing a lot for them. So the agreement was I could do it part-time on weekends and evenings.
Okay.
At that point, I was living in Manassas, Virginia.
Okay.
But commuting to Philadelphia every week.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I would leave Sunday night, Monday morning, stay there until like Friday morning, afternoon, somewhere in there, and I'd head back home.
Wow. That doesn't make for a great work-life balance there.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I have 4 kids now, so it's...
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's that.
So you made the leap with 4 kids even. Wow, that's even more brave.
We had 3 kids when we started.
Okay.
We just had our 4th. But
wow.
Yes.
Wow. Well, good for you. So, okay, 2.5 years you've been doing this for yourself, and you have grown yourself to 4 locations. That's very impressive. So what's the secret sauce? How have you done that so quickly? And there's people who do this their entire lifetime and can't do what you've done in 2.5 years. So what's the secret sauce?
I did learn a lot with the companies I was working for on how to run operations effectively, efficiently, which enabled me to be more confident It didn't mean I really had any more money or anything. I really
Sure.
didn't. But I basically tried everything, marketing and advertising wise. From Home Advisor, Thumbtack, Angie's List. I even tried Valpak. We got a website really quick, and we're spending on SEO right away.
Okay. Yeah, I was checking it out ahead of time before we got on. I got it pulled up here on my other screen, and it looks like you've done a very good job with SEO keywords. I don't know who's doing it for you, but they did a good job. So kudos to them.
Thank you.
So okay, so you started with SEO. Have you ever done paid ads other than like?
Yes.
Okay, so what has been the best return on investment as far as getting a lead in?
It depends. So
Okay.
initially, we were a no contract company. We needed all the business we could get, so we
Sure.
took all the business we could get.
Sure.
There's pros and cons to that, obviously.
Yep.
Initially, Thumbtack was responsible for 3/4 of my business.
Wow.
Right
That's
out
incredible.
of the gate. As I learned the mistakes I was making, I increased our prices. I did some other stuff to help us not go under, because you got to do what you got to do.
Sure.
It's shifted. I hired a door-to-door team last year,
Okay.
and they went out and canvassed and added a lot of accounts for me last year. But shoot, the website's a big one. Yelp is a big one. We've
Interesting.
done Yelp since the beginning.
The evil Yelp.
The evil Yelp.
I have I have a hatred towards that. They're like the mafia. I feel like they're gonna watch this and like do something to my Yelp accounts. They're like the mafia. Like once you're in, you're in. There's no getting out.
Yeah, I don't love their system, but I understand their system, and I know how to work it. So
right. Yeah, that's the thing is if you know how to work their system, you can make a lot of money off of it for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm looking at your website. It looks like you have a 4.9 rating out of 1,293 reviews. So that doesn't hurt.
No.
That's how do you go about getting so many good reviews? Like how do you incentivize technicians to do it? Like what's your game plan to get all those 5-star reviews?
Great question. We use Pest Routes.
Okay.
It's our CRM. It lets us manage our customers and everything. We've automated requesting reviews through that. So every time
Gotcha.
service is completed, a customer gets a text just letting them know what to expect from the service.
Sure.
As well as asking how we did. And it just includes a link.
Yeah.
So we're not directly asking for the review, but we're asking how we did.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
linking to a spot where they can leave it.
The service company I use for my handyman business, Service Fusion, they literally just came out today. They partnered with somebody to do just that because I've been waiting for it since. And it's just like, come on, because I kept telling me they were going to get it, because it's huge. I mean, when you send that, because everybody reads their texts. Everybody. People don't always read emails. Everybody reads 100%, or they open 100% of their emails. So the chances of you getting it go up astronomically if you just ask, because a lot of people just don't ask, right?
98% within 5 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. And then if after that first 5 minutes, it like falls off a cliff, the chances of you actually getting a review. So it's very interesting. Yeah. So yeah, that's incredible. And I mean, that's a big thing from a Google My Business standpoint. When I'm checking you out to make sure you seem legit, when you have a 4.9, that's good. When you have a 4.9 off of over 1,000 reviews, that's kind of otherworldly. So the kudos to you for knowing the value of that and going after it.
Yeah. And the way we're doing it, we get more 1-star reviews than I like, but everyone has the opportunity to leave a review.
Sure.
And it's just more people are likely to leave a good one than a bad one, as long as you've done what you can to do it right.
Yeah, sure. So speaking of 1-star reviews, do you guys go back and call the customer back, or do you respond to them on Google? How do you guys handle those?
It depends. So if we can figure out who they are, we absolutely reach out just to try and make it right.
Sure.
We never ask them to change it. I wish they would, but
Sure,
I've never asked for them to.
Yeah.
more often than not, it's an opportunity to respond to the review publicly because there was some type of miscommunication or an expectation that just wasn't met.
Sure.
And it lets us clarify what is and is not in the scope of our service and what our terms are. Like,
Yeah.
if people expect a refund, but you don't do refunds at all, and they sign something saying that there are no refunds,
Right.
that there's only so much you can do about that.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's good. A lot of people just kind of hide from them, which I don't ever suggest to my clients, my Yellowfin Digital clients.
You can't.
You can't hide from them. People are going to read them anyway. So you might as well just face it head on and see if you can fix it. Right. I mean, sometimes you get the crazy that there's literally nothing you can do. You're not going to make them happy. Fine, whatever. But there's some people that you can actually make them happy. And I've had people, not for the handyman business, but in other businesses that we've owned, go back and change them. Because there was an expectation that they had that we didn't know that they had and they shouldn't have had. But once you talk that out, they're like, oh, okay, we tried to make it right for them. They're like, you know what? It wasn't great, but they fixed it. Thank you so much for fixing it. Gave us, I think, a 4.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a chance that they do fix it. It can't get worse than a 1. So you might as well reach out to them.
Yeah. We did have one that was a 1 that ended up getting changed.
That's good.
That was strictly communication.
Yeah, that's awesome. So again, back to growing to 4 locations in 2.5 years. How do you go about adding more and more locations? Because you're not physically located in all of them. Obviously, they're relatively close, but in that area, it can also take like 4 days to drive across from Virginia to Maryland. So how do you manage that?
So that'll go back to what the purpose of each location is. We have 3 operational hubs where that's where we have our technicians go in. That's where they do their meetings. That's where they get their inventory. Then they go out for the week. It's a weekly meeting that we do, weekly meeting and restock.
Sure.
The 4th location is honestly, it's more of a convenience location for myself and the service manager.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 service managers. One works out of the Baltimore location. The other works out of the Manassas and the Rockville location. But we use the Fairfax location to, like, if I go pick up some product and they need to take it to the Rockville office or the Manassas office, I'll leave it at the Fairfax office for them because it's right by their house. Gotcha. And it's right by my house.
There you go. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So speaking of employees, how many employees do you have to do 4 locations?
So at the 4 locations, I'll say 3 locations because one of them is more just a convenience location. We have 9 technicians now. Come spring, we'll have probably 12 or so.
Gotcha.
Our office staff is entirely remote.
Okay.
So we have 3 active right now, plus a couple training.
That's awesome. So when you say remote, are they remote in the same area as you, or are they remote, like could be anywhere in the world?
One's in Florida, one's in Vegas, one's in Iowa.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I can't remember where the 2 newest are. I think one's in Ohio and one's one's from Venezuela. I don't know if they're there in Venezuela right now. That's
the one thing I've loved about Yellowfin Digital is I can get employees from literally around the world, but I can get the best talent, for what I need. So whether that's in Canada, it's Mexico, US, India, it literally doesn't matter. We were remote before it was cool to be remote. We were all remote. So I've been enjoying the benefits of that because again, you can get the right person for the job you're looking for. It doesn't matter if they're in Ohio and you're in Florida, it just doesn't matter. So that's awesome. So as far as techs go, or employees in general, how's it been finding employees right now? Is it tough for you like it is for everybody else?
I've always made it a point to pay well. So we actually do okay. One of the big things I did before starting this company was hiring. And so I know my hiring numbers. I know how many applicants I need all the way down the pipeline. So I know how many interviews I have to try and schedule in order to get enough people to show that I can make a decent hiring decision.
Gotcha.
So,
So
okay.
as far as your pay, how do you pay like X% more than the average pest control company? Is that kind of what you try to do, or what's your game plan with that? Did I lose you?
Sorry, you were breaking up.
Oh, sorry about that. I was just
You were
asking,
breaking up.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. I was just asking, how do you pay? Do you pay like X% more than what the average company pays, or how do you determine what is good pay for that industry?
So when I post the position, I do a quick check to see what the ranges are and what the historical ranges are. I usually have a good idea, but I just always want to check.
Sure.
Um, for example, in 2021, technicians, the jobs were posted anywhere between 14 and like 19 an hour. So I just posted it at 20 an hour,
Right.
and we add a bonus on top of that. And
Wow.
there's some other benefits. There's opportunity for them to make good money.
That's good. Yeah, that's kind of with our handyman company. We will pay up to 35 an hour, and just to try to get the best, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we charge a premium for handyman, but we also need a premium employee to go along with
Yep.
that. So
Absolutely.
but paying better obviously helps helps attract those people better
Yep.
than anything else you can do. So
Yeah.
okay. So what would you say is your best advice, whether it's, pest control or any home service business? What would be your best advice that you could give someone that's looking to start their own business or grow their business?
Whatever dollar amount they think they need, they should probably just double it.
Yep.
Whatever, no matter how tempting it is to take those jobs outside of your service area, sure, you can do that right away when your schedule isn't full. But the moment you start having full schedules at whatever your peak season is, you have to know exactly what your service area is and is not.
Sure.
It's painful to turn down jobs. You got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because every minute driving is a minute you could be spending actually making money.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a big one. I think a lot of people, when they first get into it, you're desperate, right? So you need something. And like you said it really well. Do it when you're first starting out, but then you gotta build your box and stay inside your box, because once you try to take a run down the road, yeah, I mean, you just lose a ton of time. My manager of my handyman business wants to run. I got a big job. It's an hour and a half down the road. No, I'm not taking the 3 guys an hour and a half down the road and back every day. Like it doesn't, the math can't work. It just cannot work. But he gets excited because he's a sales guy. So sales guys, golly, they always get excited. So, well, awesome. Yeah. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, or that you think you should share with our audience?
Make sure you charge enough for your services.
Yep. Yeah. And that's every business. That's not just home services.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No worries.
It's probably my internet. That's the last thing I was going to say. People have to make sure they charge enough for their services.
Yeah.
Don't just bid it $10 less than the other guy.
Yeah.
Like, figure out what your costs are and bid it appropriately, or you will put yourself out of business.
Yep.
Or you'll prevent yourself from growing. That's the biggest. And initially you have to price things in a way to where you can fit an employee inside the margin that you're making right away. You have to do it.
Yeah. That's great advice, man. And don't apologize for your pricing, right? No, I mean, you're charging what you have to charge because you need to make a living, just like they make a living doing whatever they do, right? So there's no reason to apologize. Sometimes customers aren't the perfect fit for you. There might be a cheaper option for them somewhere else, but don't apologize and start discounting, because that's when you don't want to be, the Sam's Club of whatever your service is. You want to hold the line. So that's great advice, man. Awesome. Yeah. Well, sir, I appreciate you taking the time to join me today, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Sounds good. We'll talk soon.